guys, welcome to Hopped Up Cinema, a celebration of movies and beer. You know it, and I am so glad that you are here. We're checking out Community, one of the best breweries in the North Texas area, if not the nation. They have some of the biggest fermentation tanks I've ever seen in my life. I want to find out what's in these, and then I want to drink some. So let's go, let's find out.
Yeah, so this is our tap room. This is about 7,000 square feet, where we have our Saturday tours. Front and center from the tap room, you can see our brew house on display. This is where we make all the sweet liquid that we then ferment into beer. So yeah, do you want to go up there and check it out? Right. So over the next 48 hours, we'll brew 300 barrels of Mosaic IPA. Yeah, we had this enormous facility, and everybody's like, "Well, what are you going to do with all this space?" And now we like run out of space.
I was just saying, I didn't start home brewing. I started dorm brewing in college. I'm a junior year. So very quickly, I got the impetus to do it after backpacking around Europe. Me and a buddy went all around Europe. One of the coolest places was the Heineken Experience Museum, where you go in, there's an old silo, you get to taste barley malt. The next room, they have you rub hops. Most people aren't doing that, but I'm like, eating the barley, smelling the hops. The next room, they pour you the freshest Heineken you've ever had. And I could taste that malt, and I could smell those hops. And that's kind of what it clicked for me. I had drank craft beer a lot before that, but tasting the ingredients, and I'd love to cook. So I got back anyways to start home brewing.
As far as I know, I mean, we have been. I think we still are the only craft brewery in Texas of propagating all of our own yeast. So Eric Holsey, our microbiologist, will step it up in here from a mother culture slant to 5 mils, 50 mils, and about a half liter, and we'll pitch that in our propagation system. I mean, right off the bat, we had different strains for every one of our core beers. And even now, our 4 core beers, we use 5 different yeast strains. Continuing to invest in our quality, we've got a Anton Par oxygen meter, which reads parts per billion of oxygen picked up during the packaging process, which is really critical to keeping beer fresh, is to keeping the oxygen levels very low.
Guys, I'm sitting here with Corey Dickinson, man, how would you describe yourself? we talked about this earlier.
Yeah, the titleless, I head up kind of events and marketing and some packaging stuff, and a little bit of everything. Being a small business, just like any other small business in any industry really, needs in different areas arise, and you got to be flexible and have an awesome staff that's willing to say, like, hey, I know that I usually take care of bartending one night, but I know tomorrow I'm going to help on the packaging line, and I know maybe the next day I'm working an event, and maybe even the day after that I'm working on some videos for social media and whatever it may be. So we've got a lot of people here that all do many things. Every day's different.
That's awesome, dude. You guys did the MS 150.
Hey, buddy.
Let's talk about
Avery's
this guy
making
too.
a little appearance. He's been hanging out.
This is Avery.
Licking the floor for the last 20 minutes.
Is this an unofficial mascot, or?
This is one of the brewery dogs here. I'm fortunate enough to have a job that allows me to bring my puppy to work, so he hangs out with me a few days here every week. It's pretty cool. He's all right. But so what we were talking about this weekend.
Yeah, MS 150.
Yeah. Part of who we are here at the brewery is we like to give back to our community. I don't know, that's not meant to be a cheesy statement.
Sure, no.
I think a lot of companies always say that. In our mantra, our slogan is kind of beer for the greater good. Right. And we do a ton of work with nonprofits and do a lot of fundraisers here and a lot of outreach. But for those of you who don't know what the MS 150 is, it's basically a 150-mile bike ride to raise money for the MS Society, to raise money for multiple sclerosis. And it's an amazing event. You have 2,000 people riding bicycles across North Texas. We were on a team riding, which, believe it or not, it's difficult to balance the lifestyle of working in a brewery and trying to be active. So there's a lot of training involved with not only riding bicycles, but drinking beer as well, and combining the two to make sure that we can handle it.
Balance? Yeah.
So, community sponsored a team, a small team. We had 27 people on the team, and then we also were the beer sponsor for the entire event, which is a few thousand people. So it was just an amazing thing to be riding with 2,000 people, some of whom who have MS, and you have them on the ride with you, and that's an amazing feat, and it's very, very humbling to be able to talk to somebody who's just finished a ride and have them come up to you and be like, hey, I just wanted to really like say thank you and give you a hug and just say, we appreciate what you're doing to help, make my quality of life better, or even save my life, whatever it may be. And it's an emotional and amazing experience. And so this year, I think the ride raised close to $2 million. And our small team, I think we're just over like the 40 grand mark, which is pretty cool for 27 people.
Yeah. The nature of beer, the creation of beer, it was consumed around a fire, and people were telling stories, and the guy who made it, was across from you.
Yeah, we get it a lot here in our tap room where people have never had a certain style of beer,
right.
And you can see that moment where they try it, and they're like, man, this is really good. I can drink this.
Yeah.
And I never thought so, because I just turned to my go-to macro beer, and it was a safe and easy thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't take a genius to figure out that something that's made with better quality ingredients, that's fresher, and it just tastes better,
right?
And
we pay attention to literally hundreds of variables throughout the life of a beer. So that's kind of the scientific, technical side of it, but there's also the artistic part of it. I'm always picking up books and look at what people have done before me, but think, what can I do from my experience? What can I do that's going to make this my own, or make it better, or make the flavors I want? People say it all the time. It's kind of cliche, but we do really use the highest quality ingredients. For instance, our best-selling beer, Mosaic IPA, 50% of the grist of that is a malt called Maris Otter. It's an heirloom variety that is out-competed in the field, volume-wise, pest resistance-wise, mildew resistance, but it's got superior flavor to modern varieties that out-compete it.
Then the whole other side of it is that you're supporting your, the people that live in your town, your neighbor, whatever it may be. The people that are making the beer you're drinking, which is a pretty cool thing to think about.
From my perspective, doing the hiring here, I'd rather somebody have a few attributes. They need to work hard, they need to have a good attitude, and they need to be able to learn, getting along with people. Because I can teach them how I want to do things. Them coming with a formal brewing education, I don't really see as necessary.
Within the last 4 or 5 years, I drink 90% local.
Yeah.
Because I know the people.
There's so many great beers out there being made in Texas, in North Texas specifically. I hope everybody that lives up here realizes how fortunate they are, that you can go out to a bar, or restaurant, or grocery store, whatever it may be, and find an amazing selection of so many different styles from so many local breweries that are solid offerings. Beers that are delicious to drink. That wasn't here, 5 years ago. We talked about these extreme beers, but you're right. Coming back to very traditionally brewed, true to style beers that are very clean, actually very difficult to make, but hey, there's something that is so refreshing. With the growth in the American craft beer scene, you see a lot of a resurgence of these styles that you haven't seen, especially brewed in America, maybe even ever. And what we're drinking right now, for example,
transition.
Silly Goza. There you go. Just segue right into that.
Bam.
But it is one. The Goza is kind of a weird style of beer.
It is.
If you just wrote it down on paper and we're like, hey, do you want to drink a slightly sour beer brewed with sea salt, coriander, and ours has tangerine and apricot in it?
Right.
Somebody initial reaction might be like, salty sour beer might not be on my list of things that I want to drink today.
Right.
But when done right, they're really a pretty amazing thing. And this beer, they started brewing this style of beer in Germany in like the 16th century.
Yeah.
And it was very popular in certain towns because they were known that, like Leipzig, Germany, that's where like the Goza is brewed, and that's where you go to drink this beer.
Yeah.
And World War II happened, and that kind of actually led to almost the death of this beer.
Really?
And then it came back a little bit in Germany, but it really wasn't, until, a few years ago that it made its way to the States. And it's because of the inventiveness of the craft beer industry. A lot of these guys are super passionate about beer and revitalizing styles that we haven't got to enjoy in such a long time. And so the Goza Man, I tell you what, it's an amazing beer.
Corey, man, thank you so much for hosting this, man. I can't wait to watch
Absolutely.
this match. Yeah,
It's been a pleasure.
Man,
It's been a pleasure.
You guys definitely embody your brewery's name, man. I love that you guys are always connected with the community, and that's just cool.
Thanks, man.
Cool.
Yeah, we do what we can, and you know, beer is a wonderful thing, and we love to share it with everybody that we can. So happy you can come out and do this.
Fuck yeah, man. We'll do it again.
Fuck yeah.
All right.
All
Cool.
right.
Oh, hey. Enjoying that beer? I know you are. Yeah, it's community beer. It's delicious. About to enjoy a movie, Snatch, one of my favorites of all time. But before that, we're gonna sit down, talk more about the beer in front of you, talk more about community brewery, maybe do some British accents. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
But over the years, I tweaked the grist, all the malts that go into it, to have that balance that it has, and it ended up being. Yeah.
We had our beer waiting for us at the finish line, and man, I tell you what, that's a huge motivator. When you're like, I don't want to go another mile. Like, you know, my ass hurts, my legs are tired. I just want to lay down on the side of the road and just call it. But you think about who you're doing it for, and you think about the beer at the finish line. Our team killed a half barrel, which is like 165 or something. I mean, you know, which is kind of a lot of beer for 27 people.
Well, you know.
But
Man, you've been training.
A hot day. We've been training for that.
I just love beer. And you. I love you.